Welcome everyone to another imprison video. Today this is just going to be a servant guide and a prisoner guide, basically trying to give you all the information you need to get the best servants and the most out of your servants and the best prison servants. So first of all, what we are going to go over are the different ways to find out the blood types of each servant. The blood type determines on how much power rating they have once they have risen. Like this guy, for instance, he has 18% expertise, which is down to their blood type. So the higher percentage their blood type is, the higher this expertise is going to be. And the higher this expertise is going to be, as it says, boosts the amount of power required from your equipment, which means that these gloves are going to give more power to this person than, say, a 10% expertise. The power is very big, right? Because the higher the power, the more successful they're going to be when you send them on missions to get you resources. And not only that, as it states here, increases the servant's damage output and health. So that's including base defense. So when they're trying to fight off other players that are trying to raid your base, if you set them up in the right way so that they're defending specific areas, they'll be a lot more stronger against these people. Now, there are two ways to actually check a AI's blood type and percentage. The easy way to do it, where you can literally just ride on a horse and use this blood hunger ability, is actually really helpful. But you do need to kill Tristan the Vampire Hunter first to obtain this ability. Now, the way that this ability works is, let's just go jump on this horse and we'll go outside. Alright, so the way that the blood hunger works, a really good way of using it, is you pop your blood hunger, you then mount, because you can't mount and use the ability on the mount, and then obviously you can just walk around, and when you get close enough, boom, it shows you what they are and what percentage they are. So obviously you can literally ride around to the more condensed areas of people, like here, go through the town, and just ride through until you see what you are specifically looking for, right? So I didn't see much there. Big bang bong. Right. As you can see, this dog wants some smoke. We're gonna come out here. I'll ride up here a little bit. See, there's not very good percentages, but regardless, like this is like the easiest way to do it, right? You just ride around in this form. The other way of doing it is, to get out of this, you'll have to get off of your horse and then click control. So just click control, so you do that. That's the way to get out of it. The other way to actually see people's expertise and what they are, pretty fucking easily. Like, I don't really see the problem. Say you see them down here, you can hover over them. Right, and that will show underneath their life bar and health, their name. That makes sense. Obviously, the other one's a bit easier. This one you can see from further away, because you can technically just point your crosshair at them as long as they're in view. But yeah, those are the ways to figure out the blood types. The best ways that I've found to find specific blood types at the fastest, I wouldn't say specific, but you can go to different cities. Right, there's a city here that's filled with loads of workers, scholars, and whatnot. You can go to different areas that, like, bandit strongholds and the copper mine and the armories and stuff like that, to be able to find Dunlum monasteries, like specific things, right? Because there's going to be a lot of scholars monastery. There's going to be a lot of like paladins, light weavers, clerics, knights, riflemen, halberdiers at these places over here. You can only, from what I'm aware of, you can only certitude humanoids, if that makes sense. So you can't go to the harpy nest and make any harpies your servants, and the same with animals. So just a heads up on that. Now, the reason why I love going to crowded areas like this is just walk in and you can literally just walk through, seeing all of the different blood types, right? Because of how many there are. That's a decent light weaver, 36 right there. But this is like the easiest way. I'll show you how to dominate and actually obtain servants in a moment. Be right back. So as we can see here, we have a 94%, which, you know, it's pretty good. So we'll cancel this and we'll make sure that we get him low on HP, right? So you hit him a few times, so he's under about half HP. Switch to dominating and then you click Q. Even if you miss, it doesn't matter. Get him on the next one, give him some of that good suck. Boom. Instantly becomes yours. Now, there are loads of different kinds of servants that you can have. I would recommend, if you're going for defensive ones, priests are really fucking strong for healing. You got clerics, which give massive shields, and they do projectiles. The light weavers do a lot of blinking abilities and a lot of AoE, and the paladins are really tanky and they slam on the ground and do a lot of AoEs as well. Those are the main ones that I'd recommend, alongside a few things for stuns. Like the riflemen are very annoying if you can get a lot of them, because they're very, very accurate. I would not recommend the longbowmen, the flaming arrow guys, because they will kill your servants if your servants are running into the flames. If you have a long corridor and you have loads of space for the fire archers to shoot into the enemies, yes, that'll probably actually be very good, but I wouldn't recommend them because they will kill your own servants during while fighting. But yeah, anything, this is 94%, anything a high percentage is going to have a high expertise, anything with a low percentage is going to have a low expertise. One thing I would recommend to you as well, so now that we've done this right now, you cannot use any form of blood forms. So you can't go into wolf mode, you can't heal. You can heal using things like potions, but you cannot use the blood mend to be able to heal while you are dominating someone. So we are just going to continue through. We're going to go back. We are going to jump onto our horse. I'm going to try and ignore majority of mobs, because although they're not going to attack our servant, our charmed servant right now, what they will do is, so say if they try and shoot you with projectiles, and they miss you, but your servant's right behind you and it hits them, it will deal damage to your servant. One thing I recommend is having a fast horse. It doesn't matter if your servant falls behind the charm person, because as long as he's not getting hit by projectiles, you're chilling. The second you get back to your base and open and close the door, he will teleport to you. Nothing will happen to him if he's not close to you. These random mobs will not randomly start attacking. So let's just say we go backwards and we closed it. See how he's teleported? I'll show you what I mean by the reason why you don't have to worry about your servant. Your charmed dominatrix that you are going to be, servituting. So he's going to be behind me, right? He's not right next to me. Boom. Bing, bang, bong. See how he just instantly teleports in? So yeah, that's why I suggest like not worrying too much about leaving him behind. It's better to leave him behind than to be trying to carry him back with you, if that makes sense. The reason why he didn't teleport to me then, because he can get around here. See? But he will now. See? Because nothing is going to hurt him. So if I was to imprison him, for instance, I could come here, click on the prison cell and click imprison. And obviously we can use foods and whatnot to get his misery down, to heal him up, and to drain his blood. As you can see right here. Boom. Drain blood. 100% warrior. Bing. All you need is glass bottles. Empty glass bottles, you can drain the blood. Then you can drink that whenever. So what I would say to make sure though, try to keep his misery as low as possible. I generally drain blood twice on max HP with 0 misery, and generally he won't die. I'm not saying he will not 100% die, because there is still that chance, because every time you drain blood, it is 30 to 60%. If you get very unlucky and it's 250% or a 60 and a 40% on 2 drains, he very well may die. So just drain 1 blood, heal him back up, get his misery down, do it again. You could probably do it multiple times and get his misery pretty high, but to be honest, it's a pain in the ass when you have to then get a big stack of misery down. So you need like 10 rainbow trout just to get it from like 100+% down to 0%. Just be very careful, because the higher the misery is, the more damage they take when you drain their blood. Just a heads up. Either way, moving forward, so we're going to take him up to our coffin. So we bring him over to the coffin, we whack him in, and you see how it says 2 different expertise because of the blood quality. It also has its tracking expertise that, depending on where you are deciding to send them to do things, it reduces the difficulty by 100, which is actually pretty huge if you are trying to send them to specific locations, and you don't want to put as much gear on them. And then you've got the Silverlight Hunter, which is obviously it will gain 20% extra loot for looting, doing missions within the Silverlight Hills. Now, the way that works is, let's just click convert. It's gonna take 44 minutes. If we open up our map and say if we want to send people on missions in the Dunley farmlands, I would recommend looking for a high percentage humanoid to dominate within the Dunley farmlands and sending them on missions within the Dunley farmlands, because they will get that 20% resource buff. Same within Barbane Woods, and the same within Silverlight Hills, and the same within the Cursed Forest. Cursed Forest, well, there are humanoids, I think, within the Cursed Forest. Actually, I'm not too sure. Maybe you can't dominate anything within the Cursed Forest right now. Maybe that's going to be in a future update. So don't worry too much if you're trying to get resources from the Cursed Forest. Either way, it's going to take 44 minutes with that percentage, but we already have one here. Right, so this is what it will look like once it's done. You open up the coffin, it will tell you the expertise boundary. You can even name him. We're going to call him Jeff. His name's Jeff. And then we hit rise. Now he'll come out the coffin, you know, rising just like we did. Then what we want to do, open up his inventory. It will tell us the expertise. That's not a bad expertise. That's like in the middle. But then obviously when we put a piece of gear on him, so let's come to Magnus, for instance. Right, we're gonna, oh wow, he's 15 as well. I'm sure this guy is probably lower, higher. So we're gonna strip him naked, right? And I'll show you the difference in power. So these gloves, we put it on an 18%, gets 64 and a 6 gear score. So we take them off, right? And then we come to one of the other ones. Where's our new guy? Jeff. So we come to Jeff with a 15%, and his is 62. So it may not be massive. So 62 on a 15%, and then on a 18%, 64. It's not massive, but every piece of gear, an extra 2 power or more, depending on the type of gear you're using, adds up. And I feel the higher percentage is much better than the lower. One thing we'll recommend as well, I'm not going to do it to him. We've already sent one through for 2 hours on a quest. I think it was this guy that we says, once he comes back within an hour and 15 minutes and dies, we will then show you that his expertise is going to change. There is one thing that you can do to literally increase the expertise of your servant, right? So you say that this is 11 to 20%. Say if this guy came out at 11%, one thing you can do, right? So let's have a look at the, I think it's Carthel. He's 14% right now, right? What we could do, go onto the throne. We can just click it anywhere, probably like the harder zones. Click on that. Let's send Carvel, select, and put it on for a 2-hour hunt journey, right? Let the hunt begin. Now, within 2 hours, he will come back dead. Not fully dead, but you'll be able to come to his coffin in 2 hours and summon him again, basically revive, and he will have a different expertise. Once he's back from his mission, I will show you what I mean. So as you can see here, I've sent this guy, Jeff, with 15% expertise on a hunt. I've sent Carthel. His died. So, and this guy died as well. They both had 14%, which is on the low end. But the fact that it says this and this means that they should come back with higher. Right, so here we go. Get him to resurrect and get him to resurrect. Let's see if they come out with higher than what they had. I'm hoping they do, because I'm hoping that this is how this works. Boom! 20% on that one. Wow! That guy's going on a... He's going to die. But yeah, this is like obviously the way that you end up getting all of your servants to the max expertise, right? It is going to be tedious. It is going to take a while, but in the long run, it's actually going to benefit you so much more because they deal more damage. They have more HP for defense, and then not only that, when you send them on missions, you won't have to send as many to actually deal with it. They'll have less chance of dying and things like that, you know. So we'll send him off to die. To resurrect them again. We had that 20% which is juiced, which is Mr. Pew Pew right here. Huge, amazing. And then let's just go over the whole send them on missions right now. So let's just say, for instance, we got Shish Kebab here, right? He has the tenacious strength, which means it reduces difficulty by 100 when hunting in harsh environments, which is this symbol. So when you are clicking through the different missions, they all have different symbols. Well, here it will anyway. And depending on what type of blood type the humanoid is that you actually charm and dominate, will have a different one of these. So like the rogue will have tracking expertise, then the brute will have tenacious strength, then I think it's like the cleric, the priest and whatnot will have sacred resistance, you know, but this will always be the same depending on the area, right? So like I says, anyone claimed charmed and dominated within this area will have Dunland Farmlands Hunter. Anyone within the Silverlight Hills will have the Silverlight Hunter, you know, etc, etc. So the thing that we want to go over here is we have a Shish Kebab, which is a tenacious strength and is a hunter. So this is 600. As long as this guy is above 100%, like it is above the power level, you see how it's gone down to 400 now because of him, we can drag it down to 2 hours. Now if we're going to be playing consistently, to get the most amount of resources, you know, we'll send them out on missions every 2 hours, because then they come back and we get what, 270 to 330 iron. If we do that, that's only 810 to 990. So just think about that. If we do that 4 times alone, that'll be more than what it would be from a 23 hour in what, just 8 hours? 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 8 hours, which is actually great. It's insane. So obviously if you're going to be playing frequently and you're going to be online, so constantly keep refreshing the hunts. I'll keep sending them on 2 hour hunts, and then obviously if you are not going to be on for a long period of time, send them on a longer period of time. Also, with that being said, we can also send this guy on and he'll be 100% because this got dragged down to 400. Now if his power level is below 400 though, as we'll see here, if we stand up and go over to Magnus, let's just summon him. This one, let's just summon him so we don't have to find him. And we'll take off some of the gear, right? So let's take off this, for instance. Boom, drops down to 240. If we go back onto the throne, click back on to this one, add Shish Kebab, you know, because no matter what, that's going to be that high. There's items in his inventory. You also cannot send servants on missions with items in their inventory. There we go. There's a bit more information, guys. But as I was saying, if we say click on Shish Kebab, it'll be 100%. But then if we click on Magnus, it'll be 0%. And that's because his power level is below the 400. So it doesn't matter if we've got a guy above it, that guy. So that the power level here is for each individual servant you send. So everyone needs to be at least over 400 because this guy has already dragged it down 100. Now, I haven't checked yet whether if I put 2 tenacious strengths, whether it will bring it down to 300. It could possibly. I haven't actually tested that yet. Maybe that is something that we will test in the future. But for now, you know, so you always need to have, you know, above this. And now let's go to Magnus again, and I want to test this out. About the slider. So servant inventory, and put the axe back on. Come back to the castle throne, and then if we go to back here, and we put Shish Kebab, then we'll put Magnus, right? Now, as we drag it down, because they are over this 400 threshold, no matter how low or high we put it, if this success chance is 100%, they will always be successful. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Obviously, we'll get more because we've put 2 people as well. So the more people that go on each mission, the more resources you get. So say if I was to be able to get 3 people to smack there, it'll be 0%. But it will go up even more, you see? So if we remove this servant, it'll go down. If we add this servant, it'll go up. But if we have 3 Dunley Farmer Hunters, we'll get 20% more than this as well, which is even more insane. Think about how many resources you can accumulate over the map if you have 2 Castle Hearts at level 3 with 9 servant coffins in each. You know, it's actually insane. Insane. The thing is this throne will only operate any servant coffins that you place within this castle heart zone. Then obviously the other servant, like if we put more, we'll be able to put more servant coffins down in this heart, and then we'll put a throne separately in there, which will then only control the other servants from this area, if that makes sense. So you can't sit on the throne in this castle heart, use a servant from this castle heart zone, and use a servant from this castle heart zone. They are individual to their own zones, if that makes sense. Now I think that's everything pretty much covered. You know, you can reset the expertise to actually get the most out of every single one that you end up getting. You know, I've explained all of the different attributes and how that changes things. And as long as your servant success rate is 100%, you're chilling, having a good time, you know. Appreciate every single one of you guys stopping by. Really hope that you enjoyed this guide, you know, and the information that I've given you. You know, if you guys did enjoy that, hit that follow, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and hit that like button. It'll be really appreciated. And if you have any questions whatsoever, just message me down below. You know, I'll be happy to answer any, just in case I've forgotten something. Have a beautiful day. Peace out.